So I think it's very clear that my father, and by the way, when I say my dad or my appa or father or father, they're all the same person. Just aware that not everyone would know that. But he wore many different hats in his life. We knew him as a father, and one of the reasons that we're having so many different people speaking today is because it's really clear, me, Michael and Violet, I've appreciated this over the last couple of weeks, that we knew him in one guise. And what I really wanted was to get the complexity of his personality out, and it's you guys that tell those stories. Other people knew him as a brother, an uncle, a friend, a colleague, a carer, a doctor. One of his most important hats was as a general practitioner. As Maidli said this morning, he originally trained as an ENT surgeon, but after a couple of years in England, he retrained as a GP, and over 3 decades he worked in an amazing, busy general practice on the outskirts of Birmingham. During that time, he built extraordinary relationships with colleagues and patients, and some of you may have seen some of the messages from former patients and colleagues in the booklet today. I remember there was one particular patient, and I can't say his name, but Keith will know, and Royce will know exactly who I'm talking about, who would deliver a huge box of satsumas to our front door after every appointment with my dad. And when he was well and he didn't need to see my dad, he just brought the satsumas anyway. And actually, we just thought it was a bit weird. But then my mum got really sick. This was when I was about 9, maybe, and she had to go into hospital for 3 weeks. Her medicines weren't working, and this same patient turned up with the most, I mean, it dwarfed the food that is available today, the biggest vat of biryani I've ever seen in my life. And he didn't even actually knock at the door, he just left it on the doorstep. And we were rushing out, and we thought it was a bomb. It was biryani. And just to show how that relationship was reciprocated, when my dad eventually decided he was going to downsize his car, he didn't think twice. He remembered that Mr. Ali liked that car, so he just gave it to him as a thank you for everything, all the support. And it just showed the reciprocity of that relationship. And that tells you, I think, everything about the kind of doctor, but also the kind of man that he was, and the kind of relationships that he built with people. And having said that, I would love to hand over to the most important colleague and friend that worked alongside my dad for many years, his GP partner, Dr. Keith Chan, who, as Maid said, I think, still runs the practice with his son Royce, who's also here today. Keith, do you want to come over? Has not aged in 30 years.
I can't without my face. Thank you for letting me say a few words tonight. For those who don't know me, my name is Keith Chan. I have known Emma for 35 years. Before he retired, I had the honor and privilege being his partner, GP partner. People talk about how nice he is. I got fed up. You guys. Because in the surgery, he's always a good guy. I'm the bad guy. So I don't need to mention how nice he is. That's nice. He always occupied room number 1 at the surgery. I got pushed up room number 2. I have no hard feeling. But in my heart, he's my number 1. As a partner, we share dreams. He's a quiet person, but I tell you the other side of him, he's a very aggressive man. It all started as a very small end terrace house. When we are busy, the patients sit on the stairs. And we extended surgery twice until the no patient left. So our appetite not ended yet. We take over another small surgery nearby. But 2 people running between 2 sites is exhausting. Even so, passion kept us on. We're doing something else. If another idea, I can tell you it's Wemmer idea, and my wife. I think they get along with each other very well. So to build a new surgery is no joke. You have to look for a site, planning permission, whatever, construction, finance. But luckily, members got a member of the family got the expertise. I think he's hiding among the crowd. Give us a lot of help. We're lucky and make things a lot easier. But even so, it's a big challenge. We never ever argue, but found ourselves arguing all the time because of the pressure. So it reached a point that the tension built up. I really fear this partnership will not survive. So we calm down and take another look. Shall we carry on? But luckily, we both sit down and take the priorities right, and we both realize our friendship and partnership is much more important than the fancy building. So we compromise, we focus, and get together and carry on the project. The result is we got a purpose-built medical center, 5 consulting rooms, a beautiful staircase, the patient walk on it. So it's a testament of not just on how endurant we are, but for our bond. I would say, Wemmer, thank you. He's my friend, colleague, and most of all, a brother. Thank you in my mind. God bless you, Wemmer. And on behalf of my team, this surgery, this patient, and all the people who ever work with him, thank you very much for his kindness and excellent patient's care and a great leadership. He's a quiet man. When actually he make voice his opinion, I would just like a little boy listen to him. God bless you.
So much stuff I didn't know about. I didn't think Dad argued with anyone that wasn't me. So our next speaker doesn't need much of an introduction. It's my cousin and Dad's nephew, Myron, by England, who is my mum's younger brother's son. Myron and I, you wouldn't believe it, but I'm actually the same age. He's actually older than me. And although he lived in Nottingham and I was in Birmingham, we spent a huge amount of time together growing up. Most Sundays were spent learning Tamil and playing football, and many school holidays were spent at each other's houses. So Myron saw a lot of my dad, not just as an uncle, but very much as my father as well. And he treated him like a son too. I just wanted to tell you a quick story that relates to Myron and my dad. Alongside all of the wonderful qualities that we have talked about today, there was one very consistent feature of his personality: his complete and utter aversion to risk. He was terrified of heights. He was terrified of DIY. he was deeply suspicious of any cold weather. And one particular summer with Myron, this became very clear. Myron came to stay with us for a few weeks when we were about 12. Dad said that if we were impeccably behaved, he would take us to Alton Towers for the day. And of course, Prince Myron is always impeccably behaved. So, we arrived at Alton Towers, the three of us, unbelievably excited. We had researched every single ride in minute detail. And I think within the first 10 minutes, after we got through the gates, Dad caught sight of one particular ride. For those of you who know it, it's called Nemesis. And he stopped in his tracks, completely stopped. He went really quiet. Then he looked like he was going a bit blue. Then he swore in Tamil multiple times. He swore again, louder and louder. Then he stopped talking, didn't say a word for about 5 minutes. Then very calmly realised that he was supposed to be looking after us, and calmly announced that we would be not going on any more rides designed for anyone over the age of 6. So, we went on the teacups and the runaway line train, and then we went home. He had a brilliant day. I will leave it to Myron to tell you a little bit more about him. He's here. Myron, over to you.
Hello. I'm just going to share a few happy words about our dearest Mama. There seem to be a few common themes emerging, so please bear with me. As Mama said, my name is Myron. I'm one of his nephews, although that was never the name by which he addressed me. He had a collection of nicknames for me. Myron, Machuli, or his personal favourite, Marvitapuram Maru. I couldn't tell you where these nicknames came from, especially as I have zero affiliation with that village. But Maru was the one that stuck, and he'd get great delight from howling Maru as he greeted me. That was his spirit. He loved to laugh, to joke, and to do impressions, and he loved to make us smile. I spent many fun happy childhood holidays with the Van Derens, always wrapped in his humour, kindness and warmth. He was devoted to his family, and his caring nature was always apparent. Whether I'd been stung by a bee, or his daughter, Vaidaki, had accidentally whacked me in the head with a hockey stick, he'd be around to ease the pain. He loved his cooking and his music, and would often pair the two together. I have many memories sitting on the island of their kitchen, watching him cook up a delicious curry while singing, humming, and particularly whistling. This was something I greatly admired and adopted into my own life. Not so much the cooking, but the whistling. He had such a unique style, and I spent hours trying to attempting to emulate it, along with the accompanying headshake. In the end, I couldn't quite manage it and had to settle for my own vanilla style of whistling, but he provided the inspiration. And he certainly had a wonderful musical ear. And I know he would have been extremely proud to see that musical talent passed on to his children, with the exception of Papa, of course. I'm not convinced that DJing counts. Finally, I must mention that as an avid sports fan, I can't help but feel the footballing gods have also marked his passing by somehow allowing his team, Manchester United, to win a few games. I know he'd be smiling at those recent scorelines in absolute amazement. And his other team, Birmingham City, also won yesterday to send him off victoriously. So, up the Blues, as he would say. On behalf of all my family members who won't have the opportunity to speak today, we were truly lucky to have him, and we thank him for everything. So thank you, Mama. We'll miss your presence greatly, and rest in peace. Thank you.
Sorry, we're just trying to play with the levels because apparently the online viewers, there's apparently an issue they can't hear us, so bear with me if there's any distortion. No? Don't worry, let's leave it, it's fine. Okay, so, is that better? Okay, leave it, don't worry. Our next speaker and the last one in this section, and then we're going to let you guys go and get some proper food and chat for a while to split it up. is Appa's nephew, Saravan. Saravan is the son of my dad's younger brother, Karananidi. He was the one that read so beautifully in Tamil for us at the crematorium earlier. Saravan doesn't really need the introduction from me. He and my father had their own special way of communicating. Some sort of private language that the rest of us were never really quite allowed to understand. So it's with some trepidation that I hope he speaks this in English so that we can actually understand. But Sav, over to you.
Okay, man. Yes, man. So you've all had a little giggle with it. I'm sure he's probably used that same phrase with many of you here. So brief introduction, thank you, Padman. So I'm Saravan, the nephew of Piripa Valdo. First I want to thank Piripa and Pirima. If it wasn't for them, my parents wouldn't be here today. In the sense when they first came over to the United Kingdom, they actually lived with both Piripa and Pirima and had the joyous luxury of watching Maidali, Vadi and Padman all grow up from little kids. From there, he took a very keen interest in both myself and my brother from a very early age. So growing up, what I can remember, Piripa always remained very close to us and was the last person to make that phone call at home. So when that phone went at 10 PM at night, we always knew it was going to be Piripa checking in on us if either me or my brother picked up the phone first, and then he'll have a good hour-long natter with Appa afterwards. Visiting Croydon as well. Unfortunately in Birmingham at the time there was probably very limited sort of Tamil shops over there, so he certainly liked to come over and spend his time on London Road at Best Foods. Unlike most children who want to go and have sweets and what have you, he would take me to Best Foods, and I had this weird obsession with keys and padlocks and all sorts of things like that. Yeah, he'd always make sure that, without fail, my mum would tell him, don't buy any more, he's got enough padlocks at home. So, this guy still made sure I got a new one. I think there's sort of a collection at home somewhere. Yeah, that as well. At a young age, growing up, going to Birmingham to 113 Fitzroy Avenue was like our little mini holiday. I still remember the 3-hour car journey in that B-Reg Vauxhall Nova, which only had 4 gears. So it was quite a journey up to Birmingham, but we spent, sometimes up to a week there. I remember particularly when going first there, and Piripa introduced, showed me around the house, and this house is massive. So for me and my brother, it was like, we turned up to some sort of like something out of this world for us growing up. So I remember going there and he took us to his bedroom and he showed me his ensuite bathroom, which I was so fascinated by at that age, thinking, this looks like a cupboard. What is happening here? And I insisted from then on to continuously use that bathroom as well. And Piripa kindly also said, yes, please come inside. Again, also remember the time, I know earlier they were talking about Padman using the grand piano as a goalpost, but I particularly like using that snooker table as well that was in that front room as well, playing a couple of games. On top as well, Padman used to own this black go-kart, which I was very fond of, and Piripa clearly knew that I need to give this to him at some point. I tried ever so hard to take it, but on my Appa would never let me take it. But the next trip he came down in that G-Reg Audi, he brought the go-kart to my surprise, which was really kind of him, and it stayed with us for many years. So thank you for that, Piripa. Growing up to later stages in life, he certainly took a fond interest in both my brother's and mine, both our education and our extracurricular activities. For my brother, it was more conversations around sport, football, cricket, you name it. They often had arguments around who was going to win what game in cricket, because I think there was a time when my brother used to support South Africa and then England and then Sri Lanka, and then he went all over the shop until he stuck with one team. But him and Piripa would often have little arguments over that. But for me, it was with my music, and in particular with Mridangam. He was very supportive over the years, often asked how it was all going, especially leading up to my engagement, even onwards, asking how my progression is and what the next stages are in my life are coming. One last thing I'd like to share in terms of what what really dawned me when Podman asked me to do this speech was, I don't know if many of you know here, but Podman had a weird obsession with Thomas the Tank Engine. Growing up, we had a couple of videos and VCR cassettes, for those of you that remember, and often, you know, I'd want to sit and watch those videos when I'd eat my food and stuff, and growing up I never really ate either. So the distraction was necessary for me to eat my food. But this guy would come to our house and just take all the cassettes, and I didn't have any, but without fail, people would ensure the following time he came, he brought brand new Thomas the Tank Engine cassettes for us, so I'll never forget that. People, I'd like to thank you for all your help, your great support, and your jokes. I'll never forget that kind smile and that distinctive whistle, which most of you have already mentioned. I will definitely miss you. Thank you.
Everyone, I've just spoken to the caterers, and their suggestion is that we do all the speeches and then eat, which I'm really sorry about, because I know that everyone only comes here for the food, really. But I'm joking. But there's not many more, so I'll try and rattle through them. Okay. Uncle Yogamurthy, this is your cue. Okay. So Uncle Yogamurthy is our next speaker. He is, for those, I'm sure most of you know him, he is one of my Uppar's closest friends from Birmingham, and a very senior figure alongside him that was responsible in building the Tamil School up in Birmingham to what it is now, an amazing place. Through the Tamil School, there was a wonderfully close-knit community of friends. Every month or two, there would be a big gathering at someone's house. The children would run off and mix upstairs, and the adults would enjoy what can only be described as a very lively evening of food and juice. Looking back now, and realising that I'm entering that phase of life myself, I can only conclude that I am considerably more boring than they ever were. And just one story that summarises that. They're sitting right there, if any of you want to look at them. There was a party at Uncle Yogamurthy and Auntie Shamala's house in Sutton Coldfield, which is a good 30-minute drive from us in Hartlepool. After a particularly great night, my dad drove us home. That's my mum and my sisters and me. We got home at about 1 in the morning, and I don't know if you remember, back then we had this really old, like a gravel drive in Fitzroy Avenue. It was pretty horrible. And we had just literally walked through the front door, and then the phone rang, and it was Auntie Shamala. And she said, "I think Vamadevan has left his shoes here." And my mum had picked up the phone, and she said, no, that can't be right. He has just driven us all the way home. And then I remember just looking at my mum, and she looked down, and she realised in that moment that her responsible, medically trained husband had indeed just driven 3 kids home, walked across a vicious gravel driveway, completely barefoot, and had no understanding of what he'd done. So with that, Uncle Yogamurthy, I will hand over to you.